Pick up any bottle of Mobil 1 at a Walmart, a Kroger, or the corner auto parts store, and you are holding one of the most recognized lubricant brands in the automotive world. Porsche specifies it from the factory. Chevrolet has filled Corvettes with it for decades. The Mobil 1 name appears on race cars, on television commercials, and in the fine print of owner's manuals from brands that would not associate themselves with an inferior product. If motor oil had a Coca-Cola, this is it. The chemistry behind that scale tells the story. Modern off-the-shelf Mobil 1 formulations are built primarily on ultra-refined Group 3 hydrocracked mineral base oil, supplemented with targeted additions of Group 4 polyalphaolefin and a carefully tuned additive pack. That engineering profile is the result of a gradual realignment across the 2000s. As ExxonMobil incorporated advanced Group 3 plus base stocks into their standard formulations, while reserving higher concentrations of pure polyalphaolefin for racing and extended performance lines. Group 3 base oil is not made from scratch. Hydrocracking refines crude oil down to a very clean, very consistent product that legally qualifies as synthetic in the United States, meets American Petroleum Institute SP and International Lubricant Standardization and Approval Committee GF6 standards, and can be produced at the volume a global brand requires to stock every retail shelf on Earth at a price point that does not require a second look at the receipt. For the vast majority of drivers following manufacturer service intervals in modern vehicles, it performs exactly as advertised. Amsoil does not operate on that model. The Signature Series is not a product designed for retail shelf placement or mass market pricing. Sold primarily through independent dealer networks and direct shipment, it removes the margin pressure that retail distribution imposes and frees the engineering budget to do something different. The backbone of Signature Series is a true Group 4 polyalphaolefin and Group 5 ester combination, where Group 3 base oil begins as crude oil that has been refined aggressively. Polyalphaolefin is assembled molecule by molecule from uniform building blocks that do not exist in crude oil at all. Group 5 ester adds polarity that makes the molecules cling to metal surfaces under boundary lubrication conditions, filling gaps that purely nonpolar-based stocks leave open. Beyond the surface adhesion, esters act as a natural solvent in the oil, preventing additive chemicals from dropping out of suspension and keeping deposits from settling on internal surfaces, a function polyalphaolefin cannot provide because its molecular structure lacks natural solvency. Pairing the two is not accidental. Each one covers the limitation the other carries. On a product data sheet, that molecular uniformity shows up in three ways. The total base number runs approximately 28% higher than comparable Group 3 formulations, meaning more alkaline reserve to neutralize acid before it attacks metal. NOAK volatility, which measures how much oil evaporates under sustained heat, comes in considerably lower, meaning the oil stays in the engine rather than burning off. Shear stability holds across drain intervals that extend to 25,000 miles, a range where Group 3 base oils without heavy additive loading begin losing film thickness in ways that compound over the life of the drain. The reason those two products exist in the same category but at opposite ends of the chemistry spectrum goes back to a ruling from 1999. Mobil sued Castrol at the National Advertising Division, arguing that Castrol's practice of labeling hydrocracked Group 3 oil as synthetic was false advertising. The argument had scientific merit. True synthetic base oil, by the chemistry definition, is manufactured rather than refined. Group 3 oil begins as crude oil. Mobil 1, at the time, was formulated on a true Group 4 polyalphaolefin backbone, and the argument was that Castrol was selling an inferior product under the same marketing term. The National Advertising Division ruled against Mobil, establishing that because hydrocracking transforms crude oil at such a molecular level, the resulting product could reasonably be called synthetic, and Castrol was permitted to continue using the term. That outcome changed the competitive landscape permanently. Once synthetic became a marketing designation rather than a chemistry designation, the cost advantage of building on Group 3 base stock was no longer offset by any label disadvantage. A Group 3 product could sit on the shelf labeled synthetic beside a Group 4 product, and most consumers would have no way to distinguish them from the front of the bottle. The economics followed from there. Brands competing for retail shelf space at competitive price points moved toward Group 3 formulations. Amsoil, operating outside that retail pricing structure, stayed on Group 4 and Group 5. The 1999 ruling did not create Amsoil's chemistry. What it created was the environment where Amsoil's chemistry had to exist separately from the mass market to survive. The word on both labels is the same. What is inside each bottle is not.